Bei KIPS sind ganz viele Sprachen zu Hause. Und das Tolle dabei ist, dass uns die Bedienungshilfen dabei helfen, diese im Unterricht auch anzuwenden. Die Bedienungshilfen helfen den Schülern, zum Beispiel denjenigen, die noch nicht so gut lesen können. Da können sie sich über das iPad den Text vorlesen lassen. Andersrum, die Diktierfunktion hilft zum Beispiel den Schülern, die noch Schwierigkeiten haben beim Schreiben. Auch so können sie einen Text verfassen und kommen dadurch auch im Unterricht mit. Bei KIPS stehen die Sprachen im Vordergrund, das heißt vor allem die Übersetzungsfunktion, die kann uns sehr weiterhelfen. Sie schafft es, dass alle Schüler, egal welche Erstsprache, mit in den Unterricht gleich von Anfang an integriert werden können. Zum Beispiel ist die anwendbar, indem die Schüler ein Foto machen, ob es von der Tafel ist, es funktioniert sogar mit Handschrift, oder ob das vom Arbeitsheft ist oder vom Board. Sie machen ein Foto und können sich dann über das Antippen gewisse Parts, die sie vielleicht noch nicht verstanden haben, übersetzen lassen. So werden direkt sprachliche Barrieren abgebaut und es können alle Schüler mit am Unterricht teilnehmen. Das Tolle ist, wie gesagt, wir haben sehr viele Erstsprachen, dass man auch eine Sprache auswählen kann. Es gibt Arabisch, Chinesisch, Französisch, es gibt ganz viele verschiedene Sprachen und das hilft unseren Schülern sehr. Und diese können auch per Audio abgespielt werden. Jetzt neulich zum Beispiel, als ganz viele ukrainische Kinder zu uns gekommen sind, war das super, denn so konnten die Schüler von Anfang an mit in den Unterricht integriert werden und dort die sprachlichen Barrieren abgebaut werden.
Accessibility features at KIPS are very useful in several ways. As we have a majority of English language learners, the accessibility features help the teachers to differentiate appropriately for the different learning levels. It also helps us to cater to specific learning needs. Our students get very excited to use the iPads in lessons, especially the youngest learners, so it's very important that we incorporate those accessibility features to make the learning as accessible as possible. The Speak Selection and Speak Text feature has been particularly useful in one lesson we did recently. In my Year 1 classroom, we were learning about landforms. And after a whole group task, it was particularly helpful that the children were able to go onto a student-appropriate website and discover a bit more about landforms. By using the Speak Selection feature, they could access this KS2 level at a Year 1 level, and it allowed them to listen to the text rather than read it at the higher level. The Speak Text feature on accessibility has been particularly useful. In a lesson in Year 1, the children were learning about landforms, and we were able to extend our learning by using the Speak Selection on some student-appropriate websites. The students were able to look up a landform such as a volcano or a canyon, and because the website was a higher level for Key Stage 2, it was a bit harder for some of our younger readers and lower level readers to access, so Speak Selection allowed them to listen to the text rather than read it at the higher level. The Speak Text feature is also really helpful because once the students use it a couple of times, it allows them to be a lot more independent in their learning and don't need to rely on the teacher nearly as much as they need to before.
We use the Accessibility app in our lessons to enhance students' independence and learning. Each student is unique and has a different learning style. Some of our students have special educational needs that need to be met in the lesson. The Accessibility app supports these children and helps them achieve their potential. With regards to the Accessibility app for visual needs, we use the Magnifier. Students have been taught to independently use the Magnifier during our lessons. They can access it independently and select the Magnifier app to help them with their learning. Students use the app to enlarge text and pictures. This is especially helpful during our guided reading lessons. When we're doing guided reading, during our guided reading lessons, students work on a range of activities while the teacher is reading with a set group. During that set group, the children will be reading a book. If they need, they have access to the iPad and the Magnifier app to enlarge text and pictures. Sometimes I ask them questions about the picture and they can use the Magnifier app to enlarge the picture to find the answer to the questions. Sometimes students might use the Magnifier app to enlarge the text. If they have visual needs, this is really beneficial for them. Students use the Magnifier app to zoom in on the letters on the page. This helps them sound out the letters better and helps them achieve their learning goals. Students feel accomplished when they have used the Magnifier app. We have found that since using accessibility apps on our iPads, students have become more independent learners and have accessed their learning goals quicker.
We are very impressed that the iPads are built with accessibility features built in because they enable all learners to learn in a way that is best for them. We believe that technology is most powerful when learners can access it in a way that works for them. One feature we use is the Dictation Feature because typing and spelling can be a challenge for our younger learners. They can access the Dictation Feature whenever the keyboard is available to use on the iPad. During one of our lessons, the voice dictation function was used during a caption writing lesson. This enabled students whose writing levels were not proficient enough to be able to complete the task independently. The lesson objective was to be able to write a caption about a picture that the children had in their notebooks. Most children were able to complete the task independently, but some children needed teacher support, or they chose to use the iPad dictation function to help them complete the task. As the lesson objective was the use of language rather than accurate spelling, the children could use the dictation function to help them to write their sentences and then copy it into their notebook to complete the task. This allowed these students whose writing was still developing to complete the task and be confident in what they were doing. These students felt more secure using the voice dictation function and had more confidence that their work was accurate at the end.